Hi everyone, welcome to our wellness video. For today, I would like to share with you why are we having food addiction? Have you experienced most of the time having this intense desire for craving for a certain type of food, especially sugary food? And if you didn't get that craving, you feel irritable, moody, anger, and you can't stop from really looking and thinking about food. And when you start to eat that food that you crave, you cannot stop eating, and not until you feel stuffed. And do you find this frequent episodes of craving after even eating a meal, or even after eating the food that you crave, you want to eat more afterwards? These are the signs of food addiction. Food addiction or addiction is a chronic dysfunction of our brain. We have a lot of types of addiction, may it be in alcohol, gambling, but we're going to discuss especially right now is food addiction. It it happens when our brain lobe, in the frontal lobe of our brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, is not functioning properly. In our frontal lobe, where our prefrontal cortex is located, that is where the focus, memory, mood, and especially self-discipline is located. This is already dysfunction when we have this addiction. It is influenced by the hormone dopamine. Dopamine is a reward system of the body, especially in the brain. Eating high sugary food with MSGs, with high fat trans fat foods, those are the things that have psychoactive substances, meaning they give a intense dopamine release in our brains. It triggers the release of dopamine. So when we eat those food, the brain will sense that it is pleasurable. It gives a good feeling. Now the brain releases the dopamine, and when we have the dopamine already released in our body, it gives a reward system. It gives a pleasurable feeling. So when we are in that high feeling, the tendency is we want to eat more of that kind of food that give us the high feeling. And then we grab another cookie or sugary food, we eat again, then there's another release of dopamine. And the more that we eat, the more dopamine it is released in our body, not until we feel already that we are having this high tolerance of the dopamine. Meaning, we are already tolerating the food intake, that we eat more because we want this high feeling. When we get that reward feeling, now this function of the brain is not working properly, meaning we lose control. Now the food is in control of our brain. Usually it happens when we are stressed. We tend to look for food, then it ends up as emotional eating. When emotional eating gives us this tendency to eat for more pleasurable food, and that is the effect of the dopamine. Because we want to feel good, we tend to eat sugary food, which gives us a high feeling, and there is the dopamine effect. And the dopamine effect causes addiction, and we are using food as a stimulant. So it is a gradual process. We don't know sometimes that we are addicted to food, not until we have these symptoms, especially weight gain. Sometimes we eat a lot that we lose control, and then we have this fats already accumulated in our body. When we have this fats accumulated in our body, we have this hormone leptin, which is from the fat cells. This fat cells gives the information to the brain that we have a lot of energy. However, if we have a lot of fat cells or we have a lot of leptin hormones, meaning the brain don't get the proper signal that we are already full, that the brain is not getting the right signal of fullness. So we tend to eat more and more. So there's a delay response of this fullness signal. And with that, there's a relation of leptin, the fat cells, to our insulin levels. Because when we start to eat sugary food, our blood sugar levels are skyrocketed high. It's elevated. And when it's elevated, it always crashes down. When we are at the point that we crash, like a blood sugar crash, then we create another cravings. Our insulin levels are so low that we tend to eat more. So the tendency is the pancreas will release a lot of insulin. And with those insulin release in our levels, it will come to the point that our body is already full of insulin. And now the body is resisting all of those insulin that you are giving. So that means your blood sugar and your pancreas is overworking. So you have a high blood sugar level that is circulating in your body and you keep eating. Now the pancreas is working double time, meaning it's working hard that it will have this wear and tear functions that your pancreas will give up. And when your pancreas give up, meaning you cannot burn fats, or you will really develop a chronic type 2 diabetes. So with that, there's a lot of health complications related to food addiction. So instead of focusing on losing weight, let's go back to where it all began, our mental control. And this is where the mindfulness comes in. Mindful eating, being aware of your body hunger cues, being aware of the thoughts, the type of foods, why are you having these cravings? And there's a lot of mindfulness tips that I can share with you. But for now, I hope this tip, being mindful to our food, to our thoughts, to our body, is really the key to answer and to solve the food addiction. So I hope, friends, that helped for you today. And always stay healthy. And I'm sending you all the peace, love, happiness. And trust God that everything will be okay. Bye, everyone.